Has Iran finally got what it wanted, as Trump refuses to give Netanyahu the backing he needs? Was the endorsement Netanyahu expected from Trump quietly withheld just weeks before Israel's October 27 election? Trump asked Netanyahu about the polls, but did he then leave Bibi hanging when it mattered most? Is Trump dumping Netanyahu ahead of Israel's biggest election battle, as the Prime Minister's coalition slips behind? Why is Netanyahu still waiting for Trump's endorsement when the US president repeatedly refuses to give one? Is Bibi's campaign now collapsing without Trump's rescue, as Israel's opposition gains ground in the polls? Netanyahu's election fight is weakening as Washington continues withholding the endorsement he wants, leaving Israel's prime minister without a major political boost. 2 weeks ago, Trump asked Netanyahu how he was doing in the polls ahead of Israel's October 27 vote, raising expectations that the White House meeting could produce a public show of support. Netanyahu reportedly paused before one of his advisors told Trump that the Israeli leader was winning the race. However, polling now presents a far more difficult electoral picture for Netanyahu, with his coalition trailing its current Knesset strength and struggling to reach a governing majority. Netanyahu's coalition is currently polling at roughly 49 to 53 seats, well below the number needed to govern. His governing coalition currently holds 68 seats in the Knesset, meaning the projected loss would be politically severe. A governing majority requires at least 61 seats in Israel's 120-member Knesset, making every projected seat crucial. Opposition parties are polling at roughly 67 to 70 seats, potentially giving them a clear route to form the next government. Gadi Eisenkot leads Netanyahu on favorability in several polls, giving the opposition a powerful figurehead for this election. Israel's national election is scheduled for October 27, leaving parties only weeks to lock in their coalitions. Netanyahu has roughly 75 days left before Israelis vote, leaving limited time to reverse the campaign's political momentum. Netanyahu may not need to win outright if he can prevent his opponents from forming a government, turning a narrow electoral defeat into a longer political survival strategy. Bibi's current strategy is to deny the opposition enough seats to form a stable coalition, hoping rival parties fail to agree on a prime minister and governing agenda. That outcome could force another election and keep Netanyahu as caretaker prime minister for several months, allowing him to retain influence despite failing to win a clear mandate. Trump's closest advisors once expected him to endorse Netanyahu during the campaign, especially after years of close political cooperation and shared wartime messaging. Trump had also publicly pushed for a pardon to end Netanyahu's corruption trial, framing the legal proceedings as an obstacle to Israel's political stability. But the prolonged Iran war saw Trump and Netanyahu's political interests begin to diverge, as Washington focused on ending regional crises while Netanyahu faced pressure to preserve his coalition. 2 senior U.S. officials told Axios that Trump still likes Netanyahu, but has become frustrated by several recent decisions. Trump has been asked 4 times recently whether he endorses Bibi, but each time he stopped short of giving the Israeli prime minister the public backing he wanted. Trump has described Netanyahu as a great wartime prime minister in several recent interviews, but his use of the past tense has added to speculation about their changing relationship. Trump has also not publicly renewed his earlier calls for Netanyahu to receive a pardon, another sign that the president may be keeping his distance from Bibi's domestic political battle. Trump needs Israel's election settled so Washington can push forward its Gaza peace plan without prolonged political uncertainty inside Jerusalem. A stable Israeli government could help keep the Iran crisis from returning to full-scale war, especially as U.S.-Iran diplomacy remains fragile. Washington also wants to advance negotiations between Israel and Lebanon, where unresolved security issues continue to threaten escalation along the northern border. A settled political situation in Israel could also help secure a wider security agreement between Israel and Syria, a key part of Trump's regional diplomacy. Trump is also seeking to broker a historic Israel-Saudi Arabia peace agreement, but Israeli political paralysis could delay or complicate that larger regional goal. Preventing another Israeli election cycle is therefore important for Washington, which needs a functioning partner in Tel Aviv to deliver its broader Middle East agenda. US Vice President J.D. Vance has revealed what he described as the Trump administration's top objective in the Iran war, offering fresh insight into Washington's strategic priorities. During an interview, J.D. Vance declared that the administration's immediate priority is to keep oil cheap for Americans while preventing disruptions to energy supplies. Speaking to Fox News, Vance pointed to the sharp rise in oil prices during the early stages of the conflict as evidence of the economic risks posed by the war.
Well, the thing I can say with confidence is I think this ends with the United States in a stronger position, with Iran not having a nuclear weapon, and with the Strait of Hormuz returned to a place where oil and gas prices are stable for the American people. I think the issue here, Will, is that the Iranians sometimes make commitments that they don't honor. They make a deal, they don't honor the deal. And I understand your point about the seesaw nature of this, but I think what that reflects is that we have a lot of tools at our disposal to compel action. And sometimes we're focused on the energy piece of it because we want Americans to be able to afford the price of oil and gas. Sometimes we're obviously focused on the military nature of it. Sometimes we're focused on the nuclear program. So I think what is really happening is that you're seeing a president of the United States at the height of his authority with a lot of tools, diplomatic, military, and economic. What I think is really going on from the inside is that we're using those tools very selectively, very strategically to get the outcome that the President of the United States needs to get for the benefit of the American people. And it really is twofold. It's ensuring that the Gulf countries continue to send oil and gas to the world economy so that we have energy price stability. That's obviously important for the American people. I know that oil is down today, and it's way down from the highs in the early days of the conflict. That's goal number one. Keep oil and gas cheap for Americans all over our country. And then obviously goal number two is ensure that Iran never gets a nuclear weapon. I feel confident we're accomplishing both of those goals, but it's inherently an unpredictable thing because the Iranians themselves are unpredictable and they sometimes don't honor the commitments they've made to us.
Vance acknowledged that the conflict remains highly unpredictable, saying future developments will depend in large part on Iran's actions and decisions. When asked about the endgame of the war, Vance said he expects the United States to emerge from the conflict in a stronger strategic position than before. The remarks come as the ongoing Iran war continues to place intense pressure on global energy markets, raising concerns over oil prices, supply routes, and broader economic stability.
Upgrade your news experience with the all-new HD app. Download now.